Tonight, we're going to be talking about the 100 Years of Wonder going on now at Disneyland and around the company. We're going to talk about a lot of parks news that we've missed out on recently, and we're going to have a big old fat conversation about virtual queue at the end of this show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ParksCenter for February 5th, 2023. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you, as always, for being with us. We appreciate you. If you have not already, please subscribe to WDWNT TV for more great content. And also, please give us a like, as it helps people to find us. And tonight, we've assembled a Marvel-level panel for you. This is an incredible turnout here. Thank you guys so much for being with us, starting with Mr. Patrick Hackett.
Hey, what is going on, everyone? I don't see it. Where's all the Munchling talk?
Oh, I just figured we would save that. Where it says park news, that's just all Munchlings. That's Munchlings. All Munchlings. Perfect. That's all we're going to talk about. And then Kamila?
Hi, everyone. The Avengers have assembled. Don't worry, we're here to save the day.
Absolutely. And, of course, Miss Stephanie. How are you?
Hi, everybody. I'm doing great, Rob. Hope everyone out there is doing well, too.
Yeah, and right off the bat, I mean, right from the beginning, William K. coming out of the gate. Notice that's a little more quiet. Got a lot of comments on that last time, but we have a super chat. He says, this is to help support Rob's popcorn bucket and sipper addiction. Yes, I am an enabler. Golly, man, thank you so much, because it just so happens I went for the 100 Years of Wonder celebration and got this little fella right here.
Oh,
so, that's the good one.
Oh, that is cute.
Yeah, so this sipper was
really
available,
good.
And we'll talk about novelties and all those things in a little while. So for those of you who did not know, D23 stands for 1923, when the Disney company was formed, and so this is the anniversary year, but the anniversary doesn't actually happen until October. So the timing is so weird on this, because they kind of kicked it off on January 1st with the Rockin' New Year's and talking about it then. But on the 27th was the actual rollout. I'm not really sure why you picked January 27th when your anniversary starts in October, but January 27th was the kickoff at Disneyland, and they really brought it big. Or did they? That's what we're going to talk about here. There's a lot of stuff happening. The funny thing is that I feel like a lot of people thought, oh, Disneyland's turning 100, because I mean, we're talking about Disney 100, and it's happening at Disneyland. Why wouldn't you think Disneyland was turning 100? So, Patrick, you look a little like maybe you thought they were doing that? I don't know.
No. I'm waiting for 2055. I know when it is.
Okay. 2055.
Something.
Gotcha. So for this, I wanted to kind of break it down a little bit, and let's talk about some of the stuff they did. So first off is, they did a lot of merch. Some of the stuff was already out before the day happened, but they didn't do day of merch, which is something we've seen happen so often. They did it for the 50th anniversary of Disney World. They did it for the 40th anniversary of Epcot. That there was something special about coming in that day, that there was merchandise you could only get in the park that day. They didn't do that here. They had a whole collection of basically things that were this color. I don't look good in these colors. Mickey can pull it off, but I don't feel like that's a thing. Kamila, have you looked at all that merch, and is there anything that you're like, oh, I can't live without this, or you're like, what were they thinking?
So I will say right off the bat, there was one thing that as soon as I saw it, I had to have it, and that is the Disney 100 stainless steel tumbler, which I'm kicking myself because it's literally in the other room. I didn't bring it with me. I'm sorry. But it is stunning. If you have a chance to get your hands on this, and honestly, no judgment over here. Do what you got to do to get one of these, because the artwork on this thing is so good. It's like a Disney tumbler, but the artwork is embossed. Like, it almost feels like it's hand painted. It's got Carthay circle, it's got Walt, it's got the castle, it's got carousels. It's just stunning. And to be honest, when I ordered it, I just kind of saw it. I had no idea really like what it was going to be. But when I actually opened the package, and I'm lucky, I have a lot of friends who go to Disneyland all the time, they were able to pick it up for me.
I actually got that one And I don't have it like in my hand. It's in another room. But I agree with you 100% that it's vibrant. This is the same artwork that was on the Magic Key popcorn bucket. So I was kind of calling this the Magic Key tumbler, but it's not. It's just a generic tumbler. And I was reaching out to one of our Disneyland reporters, and I was like, I can't find this. Where would I find this? And she said, everywhere. Because apparently that's where it was. But I ordered one, went and picked it up at Red Rose Tavern, and I mean the artwork versus the popcorn bucket artwork. The artwork is so vibrant on this one that it really is kind of one of my favorite things that I got
Pops.
as well. And what about Pops?
No, it pops.
Oh, it pops.
Not those. Image.
See how triggered I am with Pops? I'm just like, what are we talking about, Patrick? Are we talking about Pops? I love Pops.
No.
So let's talk about the novelties since we're here on this one. So they had the sipper, they had this tumbler, they had two other tumblers that were a little bit more generic, but they had a silver balloon. They're back to the balloon. They had a silver balloon popcorn bucket, and the lines for that were just around the park. Every popcorn stand was like taped off lines 40 people deep to get that popcorn bucket. And then there was also the poison apple that they've already done like 19 times. So they did a platinum one that had the platinum color at the top and the purple on the bottom. And I actually had a conversation about, do I need that? But I stuck with just the Mickey and this tumbler because there was supposed to also be a Cinderella, I don't really know what, Cinderella popcorn bucket that never really appeared. I don't think we've still seen that one yet. But definitely, Patrick, I don't think you have the same problem I do with popcorn buckets and sippers. You're really more of a Munchling guy at this point.
No. Popcorn buckets and sippers aren't my thing. The platinum splatter that they're doing, they need to run that by people before they put merchandise out with that on the apple and on the ears. It is not a great look. I want to shout out whoever did our photo for the platinum popcorn bucket, the balloon, because that picture is awesome with the reflection in it, and that popcorn bucket is really cool looking. I never really liked the balloon ones, but that one really stands out.
Is that so? That one's maybe that you're going to need?
No, I like to get it myself. It's only half the fun if you are there picking it up.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can find it here. This is the one. Yeah.
It's a great shot.
I can't really tell who that is because you can kind of see them in the reflection holding their camera. Which is
Camera, yeah.
I mean, not only once but 3 times.
Framed.
But you see them in the actual balloon and then in the ears as well. That's the thing. Yeah. So yeah, here's what they had. Again, $19.50 for a popcorn bucket. Seems pretty reasonable because I think that Mickey was like $32.
What?
23, 30. It was up there.
Ow.
Yeah. Ow. But the funny thing is, there's this guy and his hat fell off. But there's this guy and this guy, and they're very similar, but they're still very different. That was the birthday Mickey one that happened. But like I said, like there was so much of that was very cool to see, and I wonder at this point, because right now we're celebrating the 100 years of magic in Disneyland because we're still celebrating the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. So I don't know what happens on April 1st. After March 31st comes, we get to the end of that. Do you think, Stephanie, that this stuff will be coming to the Magic Kingdom? Do you think we're going to be getting a different set of stuff? We got to be celebrating.
I hope so. I mean, any opportunity to add dollars and cents to Disney. I really like the Art Deco look. I like that, I may have not liked geometry in school, but I like the geometric look on some of this merchandise. And I really like the Studios merch as well. That's really what I want, is the Walt Disney Studios with the typewriter and the mousker. Is that how you say it? That holds your cell phone and that kind of thing. I think those are really cute and more unique items to this collection than just popcorn buckets that you can. There's always a different popcorn bucket.
So just like what we saw with Disney World and the multiple like lines of stuff, we have the 100 years line, and like this shirt that I have is the 100 years line, and then Mickey is the 100 years line, but then we also have the eras which, by the way, if you're a Swiftie, you already know that Taylor's going on an Eras tour. So, I mean, who's ripping off who here? I don't know. But
do not bring those people to our doorstep. We don't want none of that.
But so here's a look at the. I think this is what you were talking about, Stephanie. This is the Eras collection. Yeah. Apparently, this is available at Disneyland and now also at Disney World. So this is, I guess, the answer to the vintage collection. That instead of going through 50 years, we're going to be going through 100 years of stuff. Yeah, you know what? The funny thing is, let me just tell you about the water tower, Patrick. Let me just tell you this. That sucker is about this big, heavy as all get out. And I was in California, wanted to get it. Yeah, exactly. It would look perfect for you. I wanted to get it for you is what I meant to say because, you know, and I wanted you to have it, but no, I wanted it for me. So I was looking at the, deal with it. So I was looking at that and I remember like Tom was like, I had to have that lamp. So he ordered it, I think, from Shop Disney. So he didn't have to bring it back and I was going to do the same. And then when I went to Shop Disney, they were gone. So I think they're still available in the parks, but they're not available at Shop Disney. And a lot of people were like, this thing's $99. That's crazy. Why would you spend $99 on a lamp? But at the same time, it feels like $100 worth of lamp. I mean, it's solid and it's very cool. And it, you know, I think it's a good representation of like, you know, the Disney company. Yeah. What?
So that water tower thing is a lamp?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Awesome.
Yes. I said on Twitter, I love lamp, and Dawn was like, why did it take somebody so long to say that? So yeah, here's the mammoth box that it's in. But yeah, it's a lamp, and it's part of the Eras collection.
The little white part, it like lights up?
Correct. And then there's these little bookends and
a
whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff.
Not on Shop Disney.
Yeah, it's sold out. It's actually, you can't find it if you go on Shop Disney, but if you search it on Google, it'll take you to the Shop Disney link that lets you know it's sold out. I'll still be, you know, checking it. I assume this stuff will be around for a while, but again, that's, you know, that's the stuff I love here. The Platinum Collection stuff is whatever. You know, I mean, if that's your thing, that's great. For me, that's not really my thing. This is about the only thing I bought that was in that line, but the stuff for the, you know, for the Eras collection, that's going to be a problem for me moving forward, especially if they decide to go decade by decade all the way through history and make me buy lots of stuff, especially when it says Walt. You know, you feel a little bit more like, oh, that was a Walt thing. Oh, I want that. So from a food standpoint, I don't know if y'all took a look through the food, but they had a lot of different offerings around the park. I know that our reporters, and God bless our reporters, who were just like, man, this was like their like Super Bowl when you do stuff like this. I mean, they're just organized, and they're like, hey, you know, I'm hitting to the pin store to make sure to get those pins, and you make sure to get the pictures of the characters, and then I'm gonna head over and do a mobile order at Jolly Holiday and make sure that we review all that food, and you go, you know, to Runaway Railway and make sure to ride that first, and it's just like a machine. So again, props to all of our Disneyland reporters who are out there making this happen and bringing the coverage to WDWNT.com. So but with the food, Kamila, did you look at any of the food? Was there anything that you're like, oh, my next trip, I'm definitely going to get that if it's still there?
You know, I'll be honest, I was paying more attention to the Lunar New Year celebration food, because that was a little more my vibe than, you know, just kind of some of the sweet treats and things. But I mean, like just glancing very briefly through things, it looked fine. I don't know that I remember anything that like really stood out that I even remember. Again, I really was just a little more focused on like the sip and savor offerings for Lunar New Year.
How dare you?
I'm sorry.
Well,
sorry.
You know, rest assured that if you wanted any of it, I hope you like purple, because so much of it is purple. Like I feel like for the next year of this celebration, we're gonna be eating a lot of blueberry and grape flavored things. That's my guess, because I actually got a set of churros that was one churro that said it was cherry, but it was all in blue and with the little, you know, the little beads on it. So There to me it wasn't as big a deal for the food in this one, and maybe that's just not as big a thing at Disneyland as it is at Disney World. Because at Disney World, when there's a special event, like you were talking about Lunar New Year at Disneyland, Kamila, but when there's food and wine and Festival of the Arts, we rush out there to get our Instagram photos and post them up so that people can see how beautiful our food is, whether it tastes good or not. But the churro was good. It ended up being breakfast. That counts as breakfast, right? That's what I ate for breakfast one day.
Sure.
I mean,
Absolutely.
cards on the table. I was going to get a Gibbs and Girl ice cream cone, and they weren't open yet, so that was going to be my breakfast. So I guess the churro is much closer to that. But here's another couple of gems from that. So it's like if we put a medallion on top of it or make it purple, that means it's part of the 100 years. That's exactly how that works.
Or make it that weird platinum color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
By
The
the
great stuff.
way, what makes that a cream soda? That is blatant false advertising.
I don't know. What
Nothing makes it a cream soda. It is the weirdest thing.
Is this a good representation of Steamboat Willie?
I think it's kind of cute.
Okay.
Deconstructed one.
I feel like that looks like so many other shakes that you can get at Schmoozies. I don't know. Like, it's looking a little bit like what a lot of their drinks look like throughout the year that are seasonal. I don't know. Did they really innovate or did they recycle?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, but I'm seeing a lot of purple haze moments in the chat, so I think we're on to it.
Yes.
So, but one of the things that I always love about being there day of, and again, I'm not always there day of, but when it's something big and I get to be there day of, what I want is something to commemorate the fact that says, hey, the world, I was there. Here's proof that I was there. And a lot of times that's those nice commemorative pamphlets that you get when you walk into the park, the guide maps. And, I have a really nice one for the Epcot 40th and a really nice one for the 100th, the anniversary of 50th anniversary of Disney World. And then same with like the last Studios anniversary, there was one. Nothing. Like there was no, a lot of times they used to do a button or they would do one of these, one of these park maps or even a poster as you would leave. None of that was happening. So I don't know if it's because, again, this is not Disneyland's anniversary. This is Disney Company's anniversary. Maybe that's why they felt like it wasn't necessary to do that. But at the same time, boy, were they putting on a big party for all this stuff. So we talked about the merch. We talked about the food. Let's talk about the oh, I'm frozen? Cool.
A little bit.
All right.
Yep.
Well,
I mean, we hear you. So.
Yeah.
But
Oh, just me.
okay.
Okay, cool.
You say something, then Kamila will say something.
All right, we're gonna talk about some of the shows, or is that what we're going to? Are the shows next?
I was going to talk about the decor, but let's talk to
Okay.
Kamila because she seems to know what she wants to say.
Yeah.
No, I just like what's interesting to me because I agree. Like, I love the fact, first of all, I love any celebration. Like, y'all could complain about, the Disney World 50th, but I love any excuse to party, whether it's done really well or kind of half done. But the Disney 100 to me it feels like something that should be such a big deal. And yes, it's not necessarily about the parks. It's about the company and the animation. And really, to me, like such an opportunity to celebrate just the genius and the icon that is or was Walt Disney. But I feel like what's a little bit surprising to me, and maybe, Disney is gearing this up to be in true Disney fashion, like an 18-month celebration. But I feel like outside of this Disneyland celebration, I just haven't really heard or seen much that celebrates it. Like I just, thinking about commercials or, just in everyday life, if I wasn't aware that they were celebrating this at Disneyland specifically, I'm just not seeing much. And to be fair, maybe that's coming. Maybe there's still time. Maybe they didn't want to overlap too much with the 50th celebration at Disney World. But even just like on TV or an animation, like there just doesn't seem to be, I don't know, any other talk about it. And that just feels a little bit like a missed opportunity. And you just wonder, to what extent are other things that maybe that we know of are going on with the company are just kind of impeding this so far. But I do think they have plenty of time to figure this out and get everything, to where it needs to be, maybe before, let's say, like an actual anniversary date.
Well, and again, when we started the 50th anniversary, we started it on the 50th anniversary, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
October 1st, and it was 1971, so it was, like we made it on the 50th anniversary. With this anniversary, it was started October 16th, 1923. Again, why January 27th, I'm still a little unclear of, or why start it on January 1st. So this is the year we're celebrating 100 years. I agree with you, Kamila, that like that movie trailer beginning or the movie opening that they've added is beautiful, but it's not a huge deal. And you're right, this is a big deal anniversary. They should be making a bigger deal of it, and maybe they will. Maybe that's in the cards. But, they pulled out a lot of stops here. I don't want to like downplay that. There was a lot of things that happened. So, but it's good to know you love a party. We're going to document that. I love a party. There was a little bit of party going on. Let's talk about, Patrick. You kind of alluded to this before, the shows.
Yeah.
Wondrous Journeys. Which, by the way, I would have been okay with them just calling this Wondrous. Like, Wondrous Journeys seems a little bit too much. But this nighttime show started at Disneyland, and I love it. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to watch it, but we did the whole lineup really early, shoulder to shoulder with a bunch of your favorite people. And it was so crowded on Main Street. Didn't even pretend to try to get down near the hub for it. The cool thing about the fireworks in Disneyland is sometimes you can get a good experience if you're over by Small World as well. So there are other places to go. But by the time we were, I think, about 45 minutes out, we were hearing the announcement that said, hey, there's some great places to see this at the Rivers of America. It's like, really? I don't think there is. I don't think you're going to see much of Rivers of America. But just like a lot of the newer castle shows, it's more about projections a lot of times than it is about the fireworks. Yeah. But the big thing here, I feel like this isn't a spoiler, is that they have flyovers. So there are two different flyovers that happen during the show, but the big one that we promoted or talked about was Baymax, and it was every bit of it as exciting as I would hope it would be. This show to me had happily vibes. It kind of hit all the emotions. At the very end, there's a little mic drop moment. Like, the whole thing I thought was really well done. The only thing that scares me about Disneyland is a lot of times if the wind blows just enough, which means any, they have to cancel the fireworks. So there would be some challenges there. But I mean, I think, like, Stephanie, did you watch this show? Like, watch a video of it, or?
I've seen a video of it, but I wish I could be out there in person. I would love to get out there to see that and World of Color. But I will say, as far as the Wondrous, I think that I agree with your statements on that. But the World of Color one, I feel like this, and this might be a hot take, but I feel like this company has a difficulty with nostalgia and kind of pulling in and merging the old with the new. And, there's some really great songs that, like the Remy segment of that piece, I just feel like it didn't really fit. There's some really great songs in the newer movies like Encanto, and of course there's great ones in the old ones, Lion King, and so I think that those parts made sense, but like I just feel like there's a disconnect. And yes, I mean, why didn't they have Walt in that whole segment at the beginning of the 50th, on the very day of the Walt Disney World's 50th? They didn't even add that till later. So I agree. I think that there's something, I don't know if it's Josh D'Amaro, the Parks and Resorts segment, or if it's just the Disney company in general. But there's like a disconnect with making. I know, sorry, Patrick. I know he's your man. but don't you agree that there's like, they don't really merge the two very well?
Patrick?
I think that's a fantastic point. I actually bailed out watching World of Color 1. I couldn't make it through.
Yes.
I didn't think it was that good, but Wondrous Journeys is absurd. That is so good. Rob, you stole my thunder, because I like the fireworks. I miss fireworks being the big draw. The projections are great, but you have to be in certain places to see them. The fireworks are a lot more encompassing, and you're still getting the same show from no matter where you are. What's great about Disneyland is different places give you different views, and you get like that projections on Small World. You get different stuff down Main Street, and we're basically just Main Street and Cinderella Castle at Walt Disney World. But that show's incredible. Didn't have a tear-jerking moment for me, but a lot of wow and awe. I'll still take Happily. Can't wait for Happily to come back.
Yes.
Yeah, I would, but yeah, I agree. Like, to me, Wondrous, I was like, wow, yes, that's absolutely great. And Mr. Tommy C said that was the second best Disneyland fireworks show he has ever seen. So even he had a lot of hope for that one. Exactly. So, but as far as one goes, I think I may have had this conversation with you guys before when World of Color came back and Fantasmic came back to Disneyland. I went to Disneyland thinking World of Color is my jam. That's the one that I'm going to love the most, and then realized that Fantasmic is the one that pulls at the heartstrings. And really, to me, I love World of Color, but that this one was so much like Fantasmic was, it had more to it, because to your point, Stephanie, some of the stuff doesn't connect necessarily. There's a huge, long Pocahontas piece that happens, which is that the heritage, is that the nostalgia that we're looking for necessarily? I mean, I don't hate on Pocahontas. Same thing with Joe Gardner. They seem heck bent on getting Joe Gardner to be representative of the 100 years of this company. And again, while Joe Gardner and soul and the music is the jazz is very well done, the actors who were in that movie, I have lots of praise for them, but I don't feel like that's the representation of the 100 years. One thing that I did get chills on is when they throw in the Marvel stuff, because that's Adventures. What gets me.
I knew you were going to say that.
that Doctor the Doctor Strange circle starts to come up, and then Cap's shadow shows that he's like on your left. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it was just like, yeah, it's Cap. And we were sitting back near where some of the people were who actually made the show, and so like, oh, wow. I'm as is my addiction is to record everything, and I'm looking around, they're just enjoying it. I'm like, oh, let me just not be the one bright shadow, like bright light guy in this group. So I recorded a few bits of that just for myself, but the Marvel stuff I thought like really played well. I think that the Star Wars stuff was interesting because they didn't do live action; they did the kind of drawings of those actors. But yeah, I do think it was a good show. It was a good show, but it wasn't as good as Wondrous. That's just my opinion, but I would love to hear from other folks as well. There was some other things that were going on in the parks too. One of them was the character costumes, which I think in person were a lot more adorable than they were here. But
they're cute.
I'm interested to see if they bring these to Disney World as well. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? That's great.
Yeah, you would think so, right?
I have a crazy question.
Yeah.
Does anybody else think that it looks like they trimmed down Mickey significantly? Like, he looks super thin.
Like he lost weight.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the pants. He just
he's
looks
not on Ozempic,
trimmer.
is he?
Just
kidding.
No,
like
but
all the celebrities.
Look at the legs. It doesn't seem like the same. I don't know. It's something that stood out to me. I don't know if, again, could be crazy. That's fine. But he just looks
trying to make
thinner
sure he
to me.
fits on Tron.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. Wow. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but I want to go extra innings on this one because one thing, 1, 2, 3 eyes on me. Here we go. Coins. These are the 50th anniversary ones from Disney World. So the idea is that these medallions were in machines all around Disney World, and there would be 4 in a machine, and they were $6 each, but they gave you a break of $5 each if you would use your credit card and get all 4 of them, which why wouldn't you if you were collecting them? So I don't want to do the math, but you could do the math to figure out how much you're sinking down for 50 of these coins. And I was just like, well, never again would they do something that stupid. But wait, Disneyland hadn't had them yet. And so they introduced the platinum coins. And those, there were 44 of them that we found, again, 11 machines across Disneyland. It's easier to get them in Disneyland, because if there's one at Paradise Pier and there's one at Disney's the California Adventure, or three at DCA and three in Disneyland and two in the World of Disney, and et cetera, you can make that loop in not too long a time. For these, I still am missing 12 of them, because 2 of them are at All Star and 1 of them is at freaking Fort Wilderness. So I got to get to the Disney World before the 31st ends and complete this collection. But we were chasing them down, and it was so weird, because it's like one of the machines, they have this makeshift Disney, the Paradise Pier is going to become Pixar Place Hotel. They had this makeshift lobby, and they put the machine right next to the front desk of this new makeshift lobby. So basically, you're walking into an empty room, and there are 3 cast members sitting at you, watching you with the machine, going, okay, like, are you really dumb enough to do this? Swipe your card and pay $20 for four of these? But one of the fun things that happened was I got one of the coins was like a duplicate and wasn't supposed to be in the machine. So that was fun. And then there were people who would come to the machine. Like, it was a thing. Like, people were coming to the one machine over off of Buena Vista Street at DCA, and they would like walk in and look and go, oh no. And then like bloggers would come in and get like new captures of the fact that this one's still down, and they would just say, you know, this is out of coins. But the funny thing is, the coin machines look like they're full of coins. They look like those coin dozer machines that you'd find at Chuck E. Cheese, and they look like they're full. And you're like, what do you mean it's empty? I see them right there. It was ridiculous. And then there was a book that you could buy, but the book has 80 slots in it. And I'm like, okay, so are there only going to be 44, or are there going to be 100? Because either way, this book doesn't work for me. I don't know. It was a big thing. So, Kamila, you're sitting down there, I'm sure, just judging the heck out of me on this one.
No, I honestly, it is simple pleasures. Like, I can tell that this is something that you genuinely enjoy. And I don't know. I love that. I love that you were able to do that. I'll be honest. I don't know that I feel like going from Paradise Pier to Disneyland Hotel to the Grand Californian is such a, like, you know, quick little stroll. But no, I love it. I loved listening to that. That was so much fun. And just like seeing, you know, your genuine excitement. I didn't really know that was a thing. And so now I'm kind of like, I should keep an eye out for this, or, you know, at least if I see someone, you know, going for those, I'll know like what they're looking for. But I love that. It's simple things.
Yeah.
You see this? This is a lie. This right here, flat out lie. you do not get. You do not get them. And like we talked to this woman, it was me and Tom, were standing in by this machine, and, you know, his theory was if they started to, like, you know, run out of one coin, which I think it could happen, then like it would give you an error on that one coin. Well, you just paid for 4. Now you have to get a duplicate of one. And so this woman rolls in on an ECV, and she looks and she's like, oh, of course it's out of order. And then she's like, but wait a minute, there's some right there. We're like, oh, hang on. Like, hang on to this. It's really kind of funny, because again, this machine, the weird part of it is, if you look at it, it's super tall, because I think it's supposed to match the height of a penny machine. But anything from that tray of all the way to the top is empty. It's an empty cabinet. The actual coins are in the bottom underneath of them, they're in sleeves. We saw them like loading up one of the machines once, and I think it's done by a third party. So yeah, I know way too much about this. You know, I have that going for me, which is nice. The Oswald one, like, I'm an Oswald stan, and the Oswald one, that had me right there. But that's the one I didn't get, was the Steamboat Willie, because I hit the button and it came out as an Incredibles one, which is from the machine on Pixar Pier. So there's that.
So real quick to end the 100th, that cavalcade is amazing, but what in the world did they give cast members for the costume for that cavalcade?
Right.
They were wearing shirts out of the 90s and a really, really cool jacket, which I have not seen for sale, but I like the jacket. They were wearing the most absurd costumes, and I think we're going to talk more about absurd costumes in Park News shortly.
The t-shirts
what's
are
happening? Yeah.
Completely. Yeah.
Well, these are characters, but
and they're all different colors. Like, they couldn't just do a black with a white Mickey or something
with
silhouette.
the platinum, but the jackets,
With the platinum,
jackets are stylish.
Yeah, the
straight out of
jackets are
Epcot.
cool.
Yeah.
Right.
But what's up with these giant Mickey graphic shirts that are V-neck for some reason?
Right.
That's how we celebrate 100 years. That's how you do it. 100 years of wonder. One other thing that I want to talk about, again, I know, again, we're running long on this, but it was obviously it was a big deal. Well, two other things. One is that the name tags. So the name tags for the 100 years, they let them pick from a list of characters, and apparently not every character was on this list. So I don't know what the criteria was. I don't know what the full list was. But did you guys read our article? What the number one choice was, Stephanie?
Stitch.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, can you believe? And Mickey, poor Mickey, he was only number 7 or something, but that was the default.
7.
If nobody picked, then he just defaulted onto their thing. So that's not even a true 7. He's actually probably more like a 13. Poor Mickey.
Wow. What would you have picked? I think I know what you would have
Me?
picked. Yeah.
Well, come on. Mary Poppins, right?
Obviously.
Or
Kamila,
Pluto.
what would you have picked?
I love Daisy. Daisy is my girl.
Yay! Daisy doesn't get enough due. Like, she really doesn't.
Yeah. Patrick? No, it wasn't an option.
Yes.
Wasn't an option. I asked them. I asked one of the cast members. I was like, was Figment an option? And they said no, it was not. It was, and I said, is Orangebird an option? They said no, it was not. So, yeah.
Then I'd be like everyone else and go with Stitch. Stitch is my
Oh.
I got to tell you, the two funniest ones I saw that I could remember. One was Anakin Skywalker, not Darth Vader.
That's so
Anakin
specific.
Skywalker, and it was so long on their name tag because it was Anakin Sky. It wasn't Anakin. Nope, because you don't want to confuse it with
Why
Anakin
would
Jones.
You stack it?
You
Why
don't want to
would
do
go
that.
Anakin Skywalker.
Anakin Skywalker, and then the other one that I thought was funny and it fit her to a T was Anton Ego from Ratatouille. So no Figment,
Yes.
but you got Anton Ego on the list. I actually thought maybe that they were not going to put villains on there, which was part of the problem. But Darth Maul was on there. Darth Vader was in the top 10. So that was a thing. Final thing for this one is Runaway Railway, because I want to talk about it with this because but we'll talk about the virtual queue problem at the end of the show. But I want to talk about it with this because I feel like Runaway Railway is a different beast when it's on the West Coast and it's not taking up the space that was originally part of the Great Movie Ride. Patrick, you're nodding your head harder than the rest, so talk to me.
I always thought that our network in particular, our fearless leader in specific, was entirely too hard on this attraction. It is a fine attraction. It's fun. It's cute. And the problem was where it's located. You give it this fantastic detailed queue that people have already started to destroy because we don't deserve nice things. And it's a great experience. And I think if that is literally anywhere else in Hollywood studios, we love it. And I think because it took what it took, it gets an unfair rap. And I think we're going to see that soon with another attraction too.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about that one later.
Yep.
But you know, I don't want to do any spoilers on this one for anybody who would go. But if you want to go check out stuff on our website, wdwnt.com, we have a full walkthrough of the queue. The queue to me is what really made the difference for this, and it's so much so is that I had a lightning lane, and instead asked them to let me walk through the queue again.
Oh my gosh.
Because it was that good. I mean, it was that good. It was so neat. And it, like, everything is to scale as if it's this museum. It's Mickey through the ears. It's this museum about Mickey, and everything's to this certain scale Mickey. It's not the life-size Mickey, and it's not like the little, like a mouse size, but it's a certain scale Mickey. And it's like you're going through his prop warehouse, and all of the things, the interactive stuff, I mean, not interactive, the things that interact around you, they're not specifically interactive, like his hat. Again, I don't want to do any spoilers for anybody who's going to go through it, but I would highly recommend that even though it's going to be a little bit of a wait, you go through it. There are also 2 extra pieces. I wouldn't really call them scenes, but there are 2 extra pieces in this one. And then one thing that somebody noted was, and I think it was Arlo noted this, but I noticed it as well, is that when you're riding into the picnic scene, Goofy's looking over and goes, "Hey, Mick," and they're over this way. Because that's the way it's set up in Florida. They didn't change the video at all for him. So,
of course not.
I don't know why they thought that would be okay. But again, he's pointing to a wall going, "Hey, Mick," and you can see Mickey and Minnie doing their perfect picture.
You can pass that off as Goofy, though.
Sure.
He doesn't know what's going on.
But I think the two things they added made a little sense, and also there's a great movie ride reference in the carnival scene in the one in Florida. They replaced that with something else for the California one, so I thought that was a nice touch. But again, you're right, Patrick. This is an attraction that I think most people like. Okay, until they know what it replaced. And so I think that even on Tom's honest review that he did, I think he felt like, hey, this is. This fits here. It's Toontown. It makes sense. It should be here. So with that said, I know we went over a whole bunch of 100-year stuff, but I want to get final thoughts on 100 years. We'll start with Kamila.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway in Toontown. I really do think it's so perfect. I love that it's another attraction that the whole family can enjoy together. I've also kind of seen a lot of spoilers of the queue. I haven't seen a full walkthrough yet, but it has a lot of things that I'm really excited about to hopefully see soon in person. And, it's interesting because I feel like I like the ride in general. I wasn't someone who necessarily really missed the Great Movie Ride. So the last time I was in Hollywood Studios, I was with people who hadn't been in the parks in a very, very long time. Runaway Railway was one of their absolute favorites, which surprised me for this group. And so, yeah, I'm excited that the West Coast is getting its version also. And I'm excited that just this early sneak peek we've seen of Toontown, it is looking really, really good.
Yeah, I agree with you. We didn't even talk about Toontown and the fact that I was expecting to come through a tunnel because I assumed that everything would be closed off on all sides. But they opened up everything through to Roger Rabbit, which included I think restrooms and things were open, so that you actually had a good bit of it you could experience, but you couldn't experience it unless you had a virtual queue for the ride. They wouldn't let you pass underneath the train. But I do want to point out, Kamila, that Michael feels like maybe you're giving this a little preference because it has no boat.
It has a water scene.
Always be better than boats. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Stephanie?
Yeah, I'm excited for the 100-year celebration to come to Disney World. I'm ready for the 50th to end. And even though I was there on the day, it was great. I think that both of Kamila and Patrick made great points. That is right where Toontown is, right where Mickey and Minnie's needs to be. Absolutely. To Patrick's point, I think it would have been more pleased to have people, enjoy it over in the animation courtyard at Hollywood Studios instead of taking over the Grauman's Chinese. So placement would have been a better situation there. But I love Toontown, and this is ultimately, I think this is what Walt meant by plussing out attractions, or what they should mean by when they say plussing an attraction. When they say plussing an attraction and they use that term erroneously, they mean throwing, completely changing the theming or whatever. This is keeping with the original concept, but adding to it, adding more to it. And that to me is what plussing out Toontown is.
Gotcha. Okay. And Patrick?
I'm hopeful that we get more from the 100 years celebration as it gets closer to, the actual anniversary of the 100 years. Maybe then we'll see there on this date. Maybe it'll actually, span parks and span areas. Please stop with the terrible, silly food with it. If you're not going to go with 1923's cuisine, just don't throw purple on something and make it a food. What does a Snickers sundae have to do with 100 years? One story that I don't think we're going to get to that I just wanted to shout out. We had an Imagineer who was giving a blue sky replacement for Roger Rabbit, and an Oswald and Hortensia attraction would be amazing, and that's exactly where it belongs in Toontown.
Yeah, I agree. I saw that, and I posted that on my Twitter account. I was just like, yes, this needs to happen. I love Roger Rabbit. There was talk of it replacing Roger. I don't want to replace Roger because this is literally the only place we have him left. But it would be nice to get Oswald his own attraction, bring him back, give him the props that he deserves. So I don't know. We'll be right back. We're going to talk more about some parks news, and then we'll have a virtual queue conversation that I can't not wait to have with you folks. So stick around, and we will be right back. Unless, of course, Patrick, are you cool sticking around?
I am. I was hopeful you were going to break,
Yeah.
and I needed a drink. So I'm here. I'm good.
All right, take your drink.
Welcome to Deep in the Plus. Each week, join host Rob Whiteside as he and a panel of Disney superfans take a different movie or TV show from the Disney Plus catalog. They'll tell you its history, details, and give their review, so you'll know if it's worth your time. Current shows, classic movies, and everything in between. Watch Deep in the Plus live Wednesday nights at 9 Eastern for new episodes, or catch Deep in the Plus anytime on YouTube on WDWNT TV.
This program is brought to you by WIGS, the WDWNT Inner Globe Society. Support WDWNT to get early and exclusive access to content you can't find anywhere else, including exclusive post shows for WDW News Tonight and ParksCenter, access to our prize wall, a monthly Zoom with Tom, access to our Discord community, early access to our events, and much more, starting at just $2 per month. For more information, visit patreon.com/WDWNT or visit WDWNT.com and click the Patreon link. Join WIGS and unlock even more WDWNT.
Welcome back to ParksCenter. Thank you guys again for being with us. And again, if you have not already, please give us a like. It helps people to find us, and subscribe to WDWNT TV for all kinds of great content, including Deep in the Plus. I just want to kind of give a shout out to the fact that we did a Bluey review this past Wednesday night on Deep in the Plus and had the best time talking about it with Ron Tiana, who is, I think, the biggest Bluey super fan. He literally said he listens to a podcast on it. And then on top of that, Patrick and I did a review with the man who played Paco as a little kid, and Herbie, and man, Patrick, that was a lot of fun talking to him.
It was a lot of fun.
Joaquin Garay, the third, his dad, as we mentioned before, was the voice of Panchito in the original Three Caballeros, and then his daughter is on a Disney Plus show now. So a lot of Disney in that family is great to talk to. So if you haven't already, check it out. So there was a big thing that happened. So the last time we gathered for ParksCenter, we were talking only about Universal because there were so many Universal things that came out. And so, we usually include a little bit of Universal from time to time, but it was just a 100% Universal on the night that Splash Mountain shut down. How about that? Because we had talked about Splash Mountain so much, and so we had been all day with coverage of Splash Mountain. So we have all of that coverage on our website if you want to see the last moments of Splash Mountain at the Magic Kingdom. There it was in all its glory, and since then a lot has changed. They went quick. They went quick on this one. The next day they were in, and they were covering stuff up. The Laughing Place, it almost looks like a closed for business situation on the Laughing Place. And then we also got some information about Tiana's Bayou Adventure that is coming. So they put those walls up fast and started talking about it. This is, of course, the one in Florida, because there are rumors that the one in California will not close until May of 2023. And I did not get a chance to have a last splash on this one, but I did ride the one in California, and I don't know when you were on it the last time, Kamila, but it is rough.
Yeah, my last splash probably will have been at the one at Disneyland, and I just feel lucky that we didn't sink, but we did get much more wet than
darn boats
than I like to. I'll be honest, I'm one of the, maybe in this crowd, the few that's excited for Tiana, but regardless of whether it's Tiana, Brer, whoever, I'm not getting on this ride that often because I don't like getting wet. It's not going to happen.
Whoever it is, I'm not going.
So, yeah, I mean, it could be whatever. It's not getting me on this ride very often. But, it's interesting. And when I saw how quickly they're starting to move on this, my actual thought was, well, look at all the pressure they're under because Universal's out here opening, whole new lands, announcing whole new theme parks. And, everyone's saying, what's Disney going to do to respond? Well, what can they do but try to actually be on time this time with their next upcoming attractions? Because again, that's also what we criticize them for with Tron. So that was kind of my thought and reaction is, maybe Iger's, got everybody like, look, we need to keep this timeline.
That doesn't sound right. Hey, Patrick started a new side business. I don't know, Patrick, do you want to talk to them a little bit about the side business that you're doing? And
Oh, gosh.
A fool and his money are easily separated. My goodness. Yeah. I have some sand from the beach Tom Brady retired on, too. What is wrong
Take my
with
money.
this world?
And you can get it in bottles, jars, or bags. Is that correct, Patrick? Is there a price difference?
No, that's my rival that sells it in bags.
Oh.
No, jars and bottles only here. No bags. What is wrong with people? What is...
Wait, serious question. How do you, since Patrick, since this is your business, how does one ship a bag of water, like logistically?
Very carefully. I have, I don't use the bags. It's the bottles, a mason jar. The mason jar has some good, it's rustic, like Splash. So the mason jar is a good seller. I actually have some air from the last time the Yeti was operational. So I have some air from that if anyone's interested.
Wow, you do it all, man. You do it all. Full service. Yeah.
I have some grass that Secretariat last ate before, unfortunately, they became glue.
Banana breath from King Kong at Universal. Do you have that?
Oh, that's way sold out. Come on, that was years ago.
And you've opened up a shop. When does that open? February 31st? Is that right?
It's going to Splash Mountain and Disneyland will go down, and then my shop will open February 31st.
February 31st. Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know what, Stephanie, speaking of like moving fast on all this stuff, it surprises me, and I don't know if this struck you the same, as like there was a lot of cleanup to do between taking the audio off the ferry, changing the audio on the train, all that kind of stuff. I mean, were you surprised at like how many things they had to do when they closed this attraction?
Yeah, they took Zippity Doodah out of the opening, the reel, if you will, the spiel that you come into Disney World and Disneyland. They've taken that out. So they did it very quickly. They had it ready to go. And I will say I'm wearing my tribute to Splash shirt because I won't be able to wear it anymore. So that's the farewell there. I was riding it in December. And there was a long line, very long line, even in December, because they knew it was coming. So I have one or two good things to say, and then I have a criticism. I think that's what every good manager does, right? You say something, and then
a criticism sandwich, right?
Right. So I think that what they're doing, they're going to remove the briars. They're going to take all of that out. It's going to look more lush. There's going to be more greenery put in. And gosh, I mean, if you've walked around there, especially with kids in that heat, in the summer, it's very, very bright, very warm, and I'd like to see more vegetation. I'd like to see more trees coming into the area and making it look more like a bayou and less like the Southwest, which of course Louisiana, I am from Louisiana, sitting here now. It is not anything like the Southwest, more like Florida, if you would. So I would like to see that. I'm just really worried about the storyline, what they've put out, and I know that they're not going to, spoiler alert, they're not going to tell us exactly what's happening, but that's a long ride. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end to what they have right now, and I just don't see the beginning, middle, and end of what they're talking about, an old salt mine that Tiana's taken over, and then something goes wrong. So I would have loved to have seen, yes, like maybe more towards the original story. I know this is a continuation, and I'm all about continuing stories. I think that's wonderful. It's very creative. But, there's a three-step process to this ride. You have to get down to the laughing place to go up again to do the drop. And I wish that they had incorporated maybe some of the original storyline into it as well. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, these are the gentlemen who we can blame specifically for trashing our childhood. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah,
Right.
They moved a crane in. They've got I'm surprised the first thing down here wasn't the sign, but okay. Apparently they decided to just put a hole in the ground for no particular reason, and we have several
needed it.
angles
It
on
needed
that.
it.
Yeah,
Take
that was
the briars out.
yeah.
Yeah.
It probably
It's an
has
air hole. Makes the ride go faster.
It's the pivotal piece of telling the story, I'm sure. So,
Yeah.
no,
this story.
I agree with you. So I'm excited about anything that's like an upgrade. My concern is it's going to be a downgrade. So I mean,
Yes.
if they put in like that Elsa animatronic that they've got for the other versions of Frozen that we've seen, something of that caliber or something else of a higher caliber. Obviously, the track's going to be what it is. But I feel like that there's, as long as they can upgrade it, I'm excited about that. But Patrick, you don't think the storyline is holds water?
No, this is such a bad choice right out the gate. Like, number one, we're trying to stay away from problematic things. Do you think salt mining is really the place we want to go to?
Right.
Also, why are we learning about a food co-op on this attraction? This is not Epcot. You don't even do Epcot at Epcot anymore. I don't know why you're trying to bring that to the Magic Kingdom. I thought about this long and hard for this episode. The best attractions in the parks come from two places. They are either retelling of classic stories that put you inside it, or they are originally new ideas. This continuation, it doesn't really work for Frozen, and I think everyone kind of sees that. And I worry that this is going to lose the plot with this. There's characters all over there, and I think Tiana and Naveen were in that shot of the people working at Tiana's co-op. But we need Facilier in this. We need bad things to happen, and we need animatronics. My daughter is so excited for this attraction because she loves Tiana. And all she keeps talking about is seeing Facilier die in the ride. I don't know. It might be time for therapy. She's 3, and I don't know why she just keeps talking about that. But this where we're going already from Jump Street, I feel like they lost the plot. Just do Tiana right. She deserves better. Yeah. I mean, poor Rapunzel's stuck with toilets. Let's make sure Tiana gets something good.
I mean, that was the original concept, right? For a dark ride, is you are living the movie that you love, not the sequel to the movie that you love or the continuation to the movie that you're living that movie with those characters. And so I agree with you. I mean, if Darth Vader is still, or even Kylo Ren for that matter, still roaming, through lands, it feels like it should be okay to kind of start back at the beginning with this. Dr. Facilier is an amazing villain. And if that's not going to be part of this, that seems like a problem. Are we going to see like this is going to open and then they're going to go just kind of like they did with the Avengers roller coaster in Paris? Go, you know what? We need to change that. It's not good. I mean, is there a possibility that happens? Because again, the storyline seems thin. Like everything about this picture that, as you were talking about, this doesn't scream adventure or. I mean, they're not going to turn back into frogs, I assume. So, that was like most of the movie. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this works, because whenever they talk about this, they go above and beyond with literally a song and dance. At D23, they came out and did like these huge musical numbers after they talked about this, and then they showed us like a smoke effect that they have coming, and then they left, and it's just like, wait a minute, so show us the ride. Like, show us what's actually happening. And it's like, they're just almost there. Okay, you're right. I believe in you. So
they're almost there with their concept. They're still figuring it out.
That's exactly. But people are going to come from everywhere. One of the other things that I thought was a little bit weird, and I don't know if this qualifies as, like, I don't know, cash grab or not, but they in taking everything away, one of the things that they took away was the pressed penny machine that they had at the end of the attraction, and apparently the penny machine has been returned so that you can get more pennies for this attraction that they're trying to make you forget about.
Oh my god!
I mean, yeah, that seems weird. Let's move on to Tron, because Tron, speaking of things that take forever, is actually coming to be, but it's having some problems. What? When you wait this long to open an attraction, you'd figure you have everything like nailed down, but I'm a little bit worried, honestly. I'm a little bit on the heavier side, and I'm looking at this attraction going, am I going to fit in it? Because I've waited a long time to ride it. I feel like I need to grab a bottle of Slim Fast and get started now, so that when it finally opens, I'm ready to go. Patrick?
You can sign up for the next Run Disney.
Yeah, Patrick, tell me some good words. Tell me some good words.
Man, that was the worst toss I've ever gotten in my life. Yeah, I'm also overweight, and I'm scared of not fitting on Tron. I mean, I make it into Pandora without issue, so I'm hoping that this will work. They don't fat shame me nearly as much as the Boy Wizard does in the other parks, so that's nice. Why are they so bad at this? That's really all I got. Like, this attraction has been being built for 4 years, 5 years.
5.
It's a cloned attraction. Why? Why is this hard? Come on now.
I don't know. Kamila, why is this hard?
I don't know, but it's heartbreaking. To see people be stressed, to see people worry. I've seen people at Universal in particular actually in the queue and be pulled out of a line, or have to get off a ride, and it's a terrible guest experience. And I feel like I wish they would put some effort into figuring this out, even if you have a separate queue or just I don't know. I'm hoping that, these early grumblings are not true, and that, it will not be the concern. But I feel like for sure, like just, early cast member reports have been a little scary. And so I'm just very curious. Tron is interesting to me because it's a new attraction to Magic Kingdom, but it's not a new attraction. I mean, people will have ridden this before. They'll understand how this ride works. They'll have seen ride-through videos of it already. So it's kind of interesting to me to think about, like, just, the excitement and anticipation, which I still think there are a lot of people who are going to want to try to get on this ride. But it's just, it's different than some of the other. It kind of reminds me of Remy's, where Remy's is still a ride that's very popular, but it's kind of quiet. Like it's to me, it's the ride that sells out first in Epcot each day, but you don't really hear people talking about it. And I think that's just because people recognize that they kind of know what it is. It's new. It's more for people who have never done it before, maybe, or didn't have a chance to ride it in Paris. So I'm just very curious to see, how Disney is going to address some of these concerns.
Are they? Are they going to address them? I don't know. Stephanie, do you have thoughts?
Well, they should have known, right? Like Patrick was saying, they should have known. And Kamila, you're right. It's a cloned ride coming over from overseas, but it's a different audience. And so they should have already had that factored in. I don't know as far as the dimensions of the bikes. They look very similar to Pandora, the Flight of Passage. So I'm not exactly sure if you don't fit on the Tron, how do you fit on the other? I don't know, but they've had the bikes out for a while for people to test. I mean, my kids have sat on them, outside of the Tomorrowland Light and Power Co., which is not that anymore. But anyway, in anticipation of this happening, I think the more that they do cast member previews, and then of course the annual pass previews coming up, they're going to get a lot of feedback, and they need to listen. And maybe they do a different section of bikes coming through. I don't know.
Well, and sorry I left the picture up so long, but I'm obsessed with the fact that they have out in front for everybody to see me. I'm stepping onto this bike to try to see if I'm gonna fit, because boy, isn't that gonna be a great moment.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, Patrick, I think you were talking about Flight of Passage. Like, I did the same thing with Flight of Passage, because we had all these articles about how Flight of Passage was making it so that if you were a certain size, that it was going to be a problem to ride it. And so I was looking at this going, I'm going to have to test this seat before I go, because I'm not going to get all the way on the attraction and then them go, all right, can we hold? We're going to get this guy off of here. Like, I didn't want to do that. So I went through and did the test seat. But it's humiliating. And you would think that would encourage me to stop eating so many Snickers bars, but I can't help it. They're delicious. And running, no, thank you, Kamila. Like shop Disney. That's my form of exercise.
$500?
Not run Disney, shop Disney all the time. No, yeah, it seems like we've been waiting so long for this, that they would have worked out all the kinks and known that these things were going to be, like I was talking to my wife about this attraction, and I was like, why did they build Disneyland in like a year and it takes 5 years to build Tron? She's like, well, maybe it's because there's a lot more technological advancements that they need to work on. I'm like, no, this was already built. It was already done. It was already somewhere. And they were like, here are the blueprints. Build it just like this and you'll be good. And they were like, okay, when we get around to it. So it's just, and it's not like at Epcot, where at Epcot they had to basically do all the construction within the park, right? This is on the outskirts of the park, so that's not even an excuse. So I think we're all a little bit frustrated by it. I'm hoping that when it opens, it's just so amazing that we'll be so excited about it. But it's just another thing to be a little unnerved about. What were you gonna say?
I will say, so I did cheat and watch the ride through that they posted, and I feel like what this looks like at night, why would you do it in the day? Like, I'm going to be that person who's like waiting for the lightning lane to get to a time when I know it's going to be dark, and then I'm going to try to purchase, which I feel like that's what everyone should do, because this ride looks like it's going to be so much better at night.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. Well, kind of like we talked about with Pandora in the past, right? And Pandora really kind of like comes to life at night, so it will be fun to see this, and I hope it brings as much energy to Tomorrowland as it really needs, because right now it needs it, especially when like the People Mover shuts down and fun things like that. Let's move on to the next thing, because this is really why we're all meeting tonight, is we need to talk about Munchlings. This is important, and we brought on Patrick specifically for this. So, Patrick, let me get this straight. You take characters,
yes,
and you make plush versions of them that look like food.
Delicious food.
Then you take those food-looking characters and make real food out of them.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Who doesn't want to eat their favorite character?
Was this the plan all along, or what?
Oh, this is one of the most brilliant plans Disney's ever come up with. The packaging is amazing. And, it's just,
I love that you say that with a straight face.
Yeah, I really love them a lot. I actually have my buddy picking me up the Fig Newton. I think the food is a little weird. I don't know who drew this conclusion, but like, nothing about this Baymax makes me want to eat Baymax. I don't want to eat Baymax. I don't want to eat Donald Duck. Like, it's horrible. Oh.
But not only that, it's like molecular gastronomy. So it's not even like Donald's a corn. like like a street corn, but it's not street corn, it's a cake. You know, molecular gastronomy, when
Oh my God,
when it looks like something else, and it tastes like, so it's completely tastes different, right? But I actually like this. I y'all are gonna laugh at me, I know, but I really do like this. Now you can have your merch and eat it too. It's awesome. I love that idea.
But it's like loosely inspired by, right? So like if I'm looking at this doesn't look exactly like the angel like Munchling, right? It just happens to be like we stuck some ears on a thing of ice cream. So, I mean, there's more problems with it than
eyes. Somebody?
No, I'm saying it doesn't have eyes. Like it would be weird to have a face. I get that.
Well, I mean, no, I take that back. It looks just like it. Look, they nailed it. Like the recreation is uncanny. I mean, all right, let's see. So here's the plush, and here, yep, nope, that's exactly the same.
I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad.
I don't know. I know that William K. We love you, buddy. I know that William K. has been a fan of the Munchlings, and we saw a lot of stuff from him on Munchlings. But I'm thankful, and I've made this abundantly clear. I'm thankful because of all of the Disney problems that I have, that they got rid of Wishables, which was a huge problem for me.
Or did they, Rob? I saw your story.
Those are not Wishables, and I need to keep telling myself that so I don't buy them.
Rob, if you could eat a Wishable, would you eat a Wishable? Also, let's not forget that. Oh, I don't even want to show that I have Wishables. They did food too.
Oh yes,
that's true.
You would eat a Wishable.
We talked about that.
If given the chance, you would.
Yeah, I had this on my Instagram story. Is these little things? They're packaged like Wishables, and they're in the same kind of packaging, the same size. They're the same price, that $14.99 price that it was before they ended Wishables. And I was with Tom, and he's like, "Oh, have you seen these, Rob?" And I was like, "Oh, why are you doing this to me?" And he shows them to me, and I was like, "But they don't have the stars in the eyes, and they're weird shapes, and they're Marvel, and there's like a Ms. Marvel for some reason, and it doesn't tie into the parks really. There's a Hulk-ish." And so I was able to walk away from those, but it was very similar to the situation with Wishables, where it's like, I'm like, is this Spider-Man? No, nope. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. So I'm thankful because I'm not into the Munchlings, but also I wasn't into the Oof Oofies, and I was into Tsum Tsums. So whatever comes next will probably be the next thing that I'm suckered into. But you know what, folks? I'm good. I'm solid. I'm ready to rock. So. Anything else about Munchlings from our Munchling influencer here?
I really like the breakfast set. I think the breakfast set is really great. The bagel Mike Wazowski is good. I don't know if I want the huge bagel Mike Wazowski, and I still don't have the Stitch pineapple upside down cake. And if anybody would like to sell me the holiday Stitch, I will trade you for some Splash Mountain water.
Sounds perfect. Hey, you know what, Patrick, speaking of things you may have an opinion about, I don't know if you checked out this news that the Trails Inn restaurant, this wonderful buffet that they used to have that they've stopped doing, is now going to become a quick service restaurant. And I know that you have something right there ready to share. This is not
I mean, they could serve the food right in this, and then people can take it home because it's so valuable.
It is
so valuable, this bowl.
Yeah, that was a hoop-de-doo review situation, though, folks. That is not Trails End.
Trails End is amazing. I don't know, people probably don't eat there all that much. It's a similar food to hoop-de-doo. It's very fresh. It's very tasty. I think it's the same kitchen. And there's almost always availability there. If you haven't gone to Fort Wilderness and you're watching ParksCenter and you're a Parks fan, go to Fort Wilderness. Walk around, enjoy it. It's a great place. It's a great place to grab a drink, to just kind of meander and take in a different side of Disney. One of my favorite places in all the parks. And I hope that by making Trails End a marketplace style restaurant, we don't lose some of the food, because the food there is fantastic. Breakfast is underrated at Trails End.
Well, if you do end up going out there, I do agree with you. It's a great place to kind of go and look around and explore. But if you do go out there, hit me up and let me know and get me those last 4 coins that I need, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, I got that. No problem.
Yeah, because I don't want to have to take those bus rides to get out there. That's the problem.
You take the boat. You take the boat.
Okay.
You do.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to move on from this one because I want to get into a little bit more lightning round so we can have a lot more time at the end to talk. But this, Epcot parking, this happened while we were gone, that they renamed the Epcot parking lots for Wall-E, Eve, Rocket, Gamora, and on top of that, they just put a sticker on top of the existing Figment signs. So they've redone the parking lot. Stephanie, are you a fan of this? Are you happy with this? Is this something we needed?
I don't know that we needed it necessarily, but I mean, it's cute. I will give them that. I never like to take anything away from Figment, so I guess that's where I fall. But yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's probably easier for people to identify, and yeah, it ties in with all of their new IP that they're shoving in everywhere.
Yeah, Patrick?
You didn't need to replace Figment. I guess you could have taken some of the other ones. So here's my thing. I'm ready. I'm going to go conspiracy theorist on everyone right here. It seems that everybody who's on the parking side has a link to the park. They've used Wall-E and Eve in so many things, and I get how they kind of embody Epcot in a way, but I feel like they're hinting at something with Wall-E and Eve. That's my conspiracy theory for you right now.
Okay.
Everybody has something at the park except for those two.
Right.
Okay. Kamila?
Mm-hmm.
Do you care?
I don't, but I will say this. I will just say this. When they made this change, there were so many people I know who did care, who were genuinely upset. And I feel like if you're the person who is responsible for making these decisions, right, there's a time to troll your super fans, and there's a time to be like, you know what, it's a parking lot, let it go. Okay? And this, to me, is a little bit one of those times where it's like, just let the people have something, okay? If they need to have Figment in their little parking lot sign, let them have that. So they'll shut up, okay? Please.
Okay. All right, fair enough. That's you know what? We appreciate your candor at all times. Yeah.
Patrick's like, that was the dirtiest look, Patrick. I saw it.
We're having too much fun, folks. We're having too much fun. Two last things to talk about. One is the Garden Rocks, which, by the way, this logo not only looks like the Muppets show logo, but also looks like it says Garden Crocs.
Garden Crocs.
Because that looks like a C at the bottom too. So
you know what? This is my last thought for the day, okay? And then I promise I'm done.
I don't want you to be done. We need you. We need you.
One of the few things I bothered to really look up before the show, okay, that I didn't just know going in, was who's going to be in the concert lineup. And when I took a look, okay, listen, who do you want to come to this concert? What is the age? Because if it's people who, are going to be in a cemetery next week, you nailed it. You nailed it. What? That is the worst concert lineup. I thought I just
so
it was bad.
You've got AJ Croce doing the music of Jim Croce. What? Who asked for that? I mean, I'm sure he's a fine musician. The Spinners, the Commodores, Tony Orlando. Where's Dawn? I don't know. Wang Chung, Living Color. Some of these
Whoa. Let's slow down on Living Color there, yeah. Yeah. If I can hear CM Punk's theme music in a theme park, I'm kind of down with that.
Cult of Personality.
Don Felder, formerly of the Eagles. Out of all the members of the Eagles,
Don
Felder is not the one you want.
But the formerly of thing, I saw Colin James Hay, formerly of Men at Work. He was Men at Work. He wrote all the songs. He sang all the songs. Yeah. I get he pulled that off. But Journey former lead vocalist Steve Agari, who it's not even Steve Perry. It's the guy who came after Steve Perry.
Steve Agari was the first person to replace Steve Perry.
Yeah.
Hold
so
on.
That's what I'm saying.
Can we just think about this for a second, okay?
Yes,
With the
I'm
concert series, what you are asking people to do is to say, hey, I want you to book this package for $75 or a little bit below ahead of time so that you can see these I can't even repeat the list because I didn't know who that was, okay? I did not know a single person. What? That's not going to make me want to go to Le Cellier.
But there's a lot of the like this, the former, like you're getting part of the bands. Now Rick Springfield, you're getting the real deal, so book that one.
That's
book
gonna be
that
sold
one.
out.
Yeah.
After Plain White Tees does "Hey There, Delilah," what happens?
Crickets.
Like Smash Mouth at least has a few songs.
Yeah.
And by the way, Shrek is now in the Magic Kingdom because if you bring in Smash Mouth, all I can think of is Shrek. Magic Kingdom, Epcot. I don't even know where things are. It broke my brain.
Well, A Flock of Seagulls at least has a song in Cosmic Rewind.
That's true. Maybe they can go and play it live. That'd be a lot of fun.
Well,
I feel
guaranteed there'll be some pictures of them riding the attraction.
I feel like the Eat to the Beat for the Food and Wine always gets better acts than the Garden Rocks for some reason. I don't know if it's just timing of people's tours and whatnot, but I think that they get a better lineup. And of course the Candlelight Processional in December and November. So I don't know. I think that's the time to go if you're going to do those packages.
You know what? There are bands here that I look at and go, I wouldn't mind walking by and hearing Switchfoot. I like, This Is Your Life and those kind of things. Berlin, same thing. Blue Oyster Cult, same thing. But to Kamila's point, I'm not sure that I'm, which ones I'm booking a dining package specifically to go and see. Maybe Kool and the Gang, maybe Rick Springfield, maybe, like not Vertical Horizon.
I mean, they're everything you want. They're everything you need.
They're everything you need. Yeah. They say all the right things at exactly the right time.
It just dares you to move on to the next topic.
It does. And the last topic we're going to have, that's a great one. I appreciate you. The last one that I want to talk about here is this Paris drone show. Oh my gosh, did you watch the video for the Paris drone show? Nobody. Great. Thanks.
I did. Nodding vigorously.
Okay. All right. This was freaking incredible. Like, we were watching this and like in the queue, like while we were waiting for stuff, and I was just like, this is amazing, the stuff that they were doing with this. The stuff that they did with like Thor's hammer, like coming out of the sky, like that kind of a thing.
Awesome.
I mean, the Captain America thing, but like, my favorite I think was probably Spider-Man hanging off the side of the building. This is the stuff I thought we were going to do 10 years ago or 8 years ago or whenever we started talking about drone technology, and we had that show at Disney Springs, which was around the holidays. Yes. But other than that, and flying Baymax over the castle, I mean, I haven't really seen much use
Remember the dragon?
The drones.
Oh my God, I just remembered that. The Fantasyland dragon.
One time only. Yeah, the Fantasyland dragon. They only did it for the press and they were done.
I was just like hiding in the back of my brain and just came shooting out.
Yeah, how about that? I was really super impressed with the way all that came together. I want to go to there and see this show in person, but I know that Universal is rumored to be doing a drone show, but I just feel like Disney should have been doing this all along, especially like in the Animal Kingdom where you can't do fireworks. Why don't you have drones? Or same thing. What were you going to say, Stephanie?
Epcot Forever. I've seen Epcot Forever, and it needs something else than just kites that get pulled along by jet skis. So I think that this would have been awesome to do, and that in the lagoon there.
Yep, agree. Anybody else have thoughts on this one? Kamila, thoughts?
People who have seen this in person say it's incredible, and they don't understand why we don't have it.
That's awesome. All right, so let's. I'm excited. I want to see it. I want to have it right now. And if it already exists, then just send us the computer program and 200 drones, and let's go ahead and get it up at Hollywood Studios immediately. That would be great. So we're going to take a very quick commercial break, come back, and talk about Virtual Queue. Thank you guys for being with us tonight on ParksCenter. We will be right back. This is Disney Entertainment News Today. I'm Rob Whiteside, and here now are the top Disney entertainment stories.
For the latest in Disney entertainment news, watch Disney Entertainment News Today, hosted by Rob Whiteside. From movies and series news to stage shows, books, video games, and more. New episodes drop every Tuesday on WWNT.tv.
It's time to adjust that set and turn that dial to WDWNT TV, our new channel where some of your favorite programming from the WDW News Today YouTube channel is heading. If you want to continue to see Boxed In on Fridays, ParksCenter on Sundays, and as well our Thursday night comedy variety show WDW News Tonight, you'll have to catch them at their new home, WDWNT TV. It's easy to subscribe. Just put in the URL, WDWNT.tv, hit subscribe, and make sure you get those notifications. Again, is the only way you'll be able to continue to see these great shows as they are moving away from the WDW News Today channel permanently. We hope to see you over there at our new home, WDWNT TV. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming.
Thank you guys again for being with us on ParksCenter tonight. Just a programming note that next Sunday is the Super Bowl. So we are not going to do a show on the Super Bowl, but we will have a very special early edition of Boxed In on that day. Eric Morton, huge Kansas City fan, so he definitely is going to be talking about the Chiefs, and so they're going to do a little bit of a Boxed In on Sunday. So there will be programming next Sunday, but again, there will not be a ParksCenter because as much as I love hanging out with all these people, I don't know how many of them I can gather while there's a big football game on.
Go Eagles!
Oh yeah, Patrick's a little hurt about how things ended up for his team, so he's probably ready. Did you just say go Eagles?
Let's do this. Fly, Eagles, fly.
I lived in Philadelphia for 4 years. They are the worst kind of people.
Let me fix something real quick. Let me fix something real quick. Let me fix that real quick.
Oh no!
Let's talk about boats.
Oh, hey, so one thing that again, great trip to Disneyland. Everybody was out there covering stuff for the 100 years, and we did Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. But I had the same curse follow me of the virtual queue, and I wanted to talk about that because, you know, they originally set up this technology, I believe, when they were opening up Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. They thought that the land itself would be so crowded that you would basically need to get a boarding group or a reservation for your turn to go in and experience Galaxy's Edge. Now, they did that for like a day or so at Disneyland, and then eventually they were like, okay, we don't need this anymore because people weren't just clamoring to get in until Rise of the Resistance was done. Now, when Rise came, they used it for the attraction, and Rise, you had to get a boarding group, which, you know, and again, I was talking to some people who don't usually go, and Kamila, you can probably back this up, is that they don't really tell you anywhere that you need to have a boarding group to get onto this attraction. It's in the app. But if you're like a Disney rookie, you may not go to the app, or if you didn't work with a travel planner and it's your first trip in forever, you don't understand these weird rules that says you have to get up at 6:55, you have to make sure your entire group is ready, you need to have the app open with 8 other friends, and then do this for like at least a minute, or if you've got an atomic clock sitting next to you, it should not be this hard. And so the idea of these new attractions like Tron, like Runaway Railway in California, like Rise of the Resistance, that they advertise, come see us, you'll ride this, it'll be great, you'll love it. You're gambling every day to be able to see if you're going to have the chance to get in. And again, for those of you who don't know, and I assume most people who watch the show do, for these attractions, and it's Cosmic Rewind right now, and it's Runaway Railway, and I would hope that once Tron comes that maybe they drop Cosmic Rewind, but the demand's probably still pretty high, is that they don't have enough space on these attractions for everyone, so that it's basically like this little digital lottery every morning to see if you can get in and ride this attraction. If you've set your vacation on the fact that you heard your friends talk about how great Cosmic Rewind is, you can't ride it unless you do this. So you get up in at 6:55 or earlier if you need to, and then at 7 a.m.
Remember, you have to, maybe purchase the Genie Plus too. So you have like all these things you have to do in the morning.
True. Yeah, you would have had to already buy Genie Plus
You
if you
need
want to get
time
on
for
Remy, and then for Cosmic Rewind, it's not in Genie Plus. You have two options. You can buy a Lightning Lane for up to $20, or per person, which is like $80 for a family of 4 if you're doing math, or you get on at 7 a.m. And if you can't get on at 7 a.m., then there's another chance, depending on how their boarding groups are going, to get on at 1 p.m. But Kamila, have people complained to you about this system, or have you basically had to like draw some kind of a weird chalkboard map for them to understand how this is going to work?
There's everything. There's videos, there's guides, sometimes there's text messages, there's info guides that like I usually have prep calls just to talk about my Disney experience, and especially if they're going to be using Genie Plus and they have no idea what any of this is. You got to get people linked. You've got to make sure they understand how to do it, how to understand return times. I mean, it's an entire process that could easily take an hour to an hour and a half of prep time before you get there. I will say what I see a lot of people doing, and again, I tend to work with people who don't go to Disney often. This is their big trip. They're that mythical family in Denver that's, looking for that once in a lifetime experience. And so the Lightning Lane interests a lot of them. And so what I usually am having conversations about is I would get the Lightning Lane first, just go ahead and pay for it, and then, have someone else in your party be working on the virtual queue. And if you get to ride it twice because you got both, then that's great. If not, at least the Lightning Lane, you're kind of guaranteed to go on at least once. And a lot of people, to be honest, that I work with are okay with that. But I don't love it as a solution. I will say the virtual queue I also hate for all the reasons you mentioned. You have to get up early. It's stressful. I use time.gov like many people do, counting down the seconds. And it's so disappointing if you don't get it. And, then you're wondering all day, well, am I going to get it at the next drop at 1 or, whenever it is. But there's also something I don't love about everyone rushing to get in line and stand there, especially on like an opening day or, the opening first few months of a new attraction. But if people want to stand in line, at least in the past, they had the option to.
Well, here's the thing, though, is back in the day, kids, you probably won't remember this, there was sign up and you could get 3 fast passes when you book your trip. And when you do that, if you don't get the ones you want, there's still a chance you might later. But if you don't get the ones you want, well in advance of your vacation, okay, I'm not going to get that. Let me make sure the kids understand that there's a good chance we're not going to be able to ride that attraction or do something. We already know ahead of time. Having it happen if you're on a 3 or 4 day trip, and having it happen the morning of is devastating. It is the biggest win. The highs and the lows. It is the biggest win if you're like, oh, I got it, yes. You're so excited. But if you don't get it, it can ruin the rest of your day. Stephanie, I don't know.
That's happened multiple times.
Yeah,
yes.
I was going to ask.
For Rise, okay, so when Rise first opened at Hollywood Studios, you had to be there right at 7 a.m. or whatever time it was. We got there at 5 a.m. and we would stand in line outside, and we usually go in January or February, so it was freezing the very first time we ever rode it. But we had a better opportunity, a better chance of getting a boarding group whenever you were standing inside of Hollywood Studios when the sound would go off on the loudspeaker, little bell sound, and everyone would bring out their phones and try to get a boarding group. And we've done that a couple of times, and I was always able to get it for our big group of 6 people. Okay. Every time since they moved to the 7 a.m. and everyone could get it from the hotel and from the comfort of their beds, I've never been able to get it. And yes, Rob, I have gone back to Hollywood Studios at that 1 or 2 o'clock and tried for my kids and had to say, I'm sorry, guys, we can't ride it this time. Maybe next time.
Well, here's one more thing before I throw it to Patrick, is that Disneyland, apparently you can't buy the Lightning Lane until you're inside the park. And so when we would try for the boarding group in the morning, like you were saying, Kamila, have somebody like secure the lightning lane while someone else is doing virtual queue. We would try for the lightning lane or the virtual queue in the morning from the hotel, and then it's like 6:58, 6:59, didn't get it. Pack up, we got to go. We got to run to get into the parks and and try to get these lightning lanes, and again pay $20 per person for the lightning lane, but for now you have to be inside the park. I believe at Disney World you can do them from your hotel room, but again they're a little bit more isolated that way. So Patrick, I know you've experienced a lot of this firsthand, buddy. I think you're muted.
Yeah, I was. Sorry. I got a couple of things I've been thinking about with this. And number one is, having friends who are cast members and knowing that Magic Kingdom is going in a blackout pretty hardcore for cast members starting on February 8th. February 8th, there's also an earnings call. And I'm wondering what the two could be connected. I dropped it in our Slack. I don't know. Maybe it's the end of park reservations. Maybe it's, a change to this system. I really like virtual queues. I'd rather not stand in line. I'd rather have a nice walk through an attraction. I don't want to just stop and stand there. So I like the idea of it. It just doesn't work. It's not working. It's confusing. You don't want people coming to your park already angry, which is what's been happening. And then we've been getting more and more altercations between guests. It's a weird system that I don't think was well thought out. And we were talking about it in the live chat here. How bad do we miss FastPass Plus? And we complained about that too, having to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. But you knew so far in advance, and you could basically budget your time then. It's like, all right, well, I know I don't have Soarin'. I guess I can wait an hour for Soarin'. If it gets to an hour or below, I'll go get in the queue. It doesn't feel right. And I have friends who are first-time Disney travelers, and they are so frustrated at the prospects of planning their trip. It shouldn't be this way. There needs to be a better way.
Yeah, so, I mean, again, Runaway Railway, huge, big deal that it was opening up. It has a long queue, so I feel like it's got a better opportunity than, say, Cosmic Rewind does. It feels like a longer queue than Cosmic Rewind. And also I think that there is a difference between, we've talked about it 900 million times, Disneyland is a locals park. Once every local gets a chance to ride it a time or two, it'll die down and they can deal with that. Cosmic Rewind, it's a new group of people from a new country or a new state, those anonymous people from Denver, I guess, that are coming in and getting a chance to ride this. But like, everybody wants a chance, and there's a lot of rewritability because I didn't get the song I want and all that. So I don't know when they're going to stop the virtual queue for this, but to your point, Patrick, I get that you don't want to run to an attraction or have to wait in line all day, but I also think that you should have the option to wait in line all day rather than your two options be lose the lottery at 7 a.m. or 1 or pay $20 per person to ride an attraction. So I don't have an answer other than the fact that I would like for them to get rid of this. Or I feel like that this was something we talked about coming out of COVID, was the opportunity that, hey, the park capacity is down. What if everybody who was able to score a park reservation for Hollywood Studios, Rise was built into it for that day. So limit the amount of people. The Rise is built into it for that day, so you get to do that. I'm not sure that's the answer, but I feel like that this is an unnecessary beating, and to all of your points, you kind of ruin the experience, because if I got to get up at 6 something on my vacation, that's already a fail. If I'm already miserable by the time I hit the parks, maybe I do have a fight on a ferry boat. I don't know what the day is going to hold for me.
Yep.
Well, can I just say to both of your points, Rob and Patrick? So we're going in a couple of weeks to Universal, and we haven't been to Universal in probably 6 years, and so I've never ridden Hagrid's. Well, Hagrid's has the virtual queue, does it not? But whenever you go if you stay on property, you get the early morning entry, and you can just go and stand in the standard line. So I think that's what we're planning to do. But like you said, Patrick, we can plan in advance and go back in the middle of the day and take a nap if we're going to be tired from getting up in the morning and standing in line.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. But again, I go back to the fact that everybody who uses the My Disney Experience app or the Disneyland app, you know that it mentions virtual queues in there, but you have to scroll down. It's not at the top, and then you've got to figure out, wait a minute, like, what does this do, and when does it work, and what do I have to do? And the very first time, it's unnerving. Even when it's a new attraction or they've made a change, it's like, make sure to gather your group. Okay, all right, because that was the other thing too originally, is like you couldn't gather your group until you got into the app, and then you're like, okay, I got Johnny and Karen and everybody's on here, go. Oh, sorry, it's gone for the day.
It's gone.
But anyway, I know that we've run over on time here, but I think this is something we're going to continually talk about, because until it gets fixed, and Patrick, maybe that magic day is coming, but until it gets fixed, it's a huge disappointment from a very expensive vacation from a company that's known for pleasing its customers in the past. This is kind of a devastating thing for you to have to deal with. So I want to get one last word from each of you on virtual queue, and it could be just a hack or something, because I feel like a lot of people have their own way of doing things when it comes to this. So we'll start with you, Patrick.
I don't have any hack on how to do this, but make sure if you're watching a show like ParksCenter and you're not one of our hardcore fan base and you're doing this to prep for a Disney trip, make sure you know what you're getting into. Read about it. I don't just show up at any place and be like, well, I'm here for vacation. So read about Genie Plus, read about Lightning Lane, read about waking up at absurd hours, know what you're getting into, and then maybe decide that it's not worth that amount of money to go on vacation, because it could be stressful. If you're worried about the money on a Disney vacation, you're already behind the eight ball. And that's going to lead to stressful situations. That's going to lead to fairy fights and all that other fun stuff.
Yeah. Stephanie?
Yes, let's plug the Vacationeer. Call them. They have the answers to your magical trips. No, it's true, though. What Kamila said was a great tip, is to go ahead and shell out the big bucks for the Lightning Lane, but then also try to get somebody in your party to do a virtual queue so you can ride it back to back. That's amazing, if you get it. But you can also look at that, too. Like you said, Patrick, just plan ahead. Look and see when the low season is, and then even within that time frame, what are the days that they're going to cost more for, like, say, President's Day. Everybody's out, that Lightning Lane is going to go sky high. So maybe don't go on that day if you can avoid. But yeah, I agree. I think that this is something that they need to change and get a better system going. If you want to do standby, they should be able to let you do standby.
Yeah, agree. Kamila?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely echo everyone else's thoughts. If you are at all stressed about your Disney vacation, work with a travel planner. At the Vacationeer, we are a diamond earmarked agency. We're one of the 10 largest agencies in the country. Fun fact about booking a Disney vacation, you actually pay for a travel agent whether or not you use one. The cost is built in. It doesn't cost anything extra. So reach out to us. We love talking about this stuff. We can help you figure out when's the right time to go, where's the right place to stay, and we can help you figure out all this Genie Plus stuff. What days do you need it? What days do you not? I would say, for me personally, when I go, if it's Cosmic Rewind, I'm going to buy the Lightning Lane and I'm going to try for the virtual queue. I'll probably have some help of, trying to get both and get situated. Time.gov has always worked well for me. And just, counting down, being ready, make sure you're truly signed in, do a hard log out a couple minutes before. But I really want to echo what Rob has said, which is, like, for me, it's a lot of work. When I have that client that has never been to Disney, has no idea what any of this is, doesn't even know that there's a Disney app, My Disney Experience, it is a lot of work and it's overwhelming for me. So I can only imagine what it's like for people who are trying to do this on their own. And I just also want to echo something that Rob said that I think was really important, because Rob, you talked about this company where, an experience like Rise of the Resistance, which is so well done, is built into it, right? And everyone would get a chance. And I feel like for so many of us who are longtime fans of Disney, that's the company that we want Disney to be, right? We're tired of being nickel and dimed. We're tired of the fact that everything feels so hard, and then you have to pay for it, and it's still hard, and you have to get up early, and it's not relaxing. So I feel like there's very much the company that we all want Disney to be, and that it once was, and that we would love to see it get back to. And I just hope that somewhere, we'll get an executive that really is committed to the guest experience and actually seems to care, because I think despite all of the work that we can do, it's a lot for everyone involved, and a vacation shouldn't be like that.
That's exact those words. That a vacation shouldn't be like that. Like, again, we kind of, I think that all of us on this panel had at one point thought we were Disney experts, and they keep changing the rules and the things that we can do, and we keep knowing about it, but it doesn't mean that now we're not all subject to the same problems of, having to get up early, having to try to get a boarding group, having to explain that to your family that, sorry, we're not riding that today. We thought we were. We came excited about that, but we're not doing that anymore. So I miss the days of capacity. I miss the days of attractions that, would fit everyone's needs, or even fit everyone, #Tron. So I'm really, hopeful, as you said, Kamila, about the future and what that looks like. So, just keep watching, keep reading WDWNT.com, keep watching ParksCenter, keep watching, the stuff that we do on this network, because we really do want to share with you the things we've learned, the things that we know, hear from you the things that you've learned and that that we can share with each other as a community, and really, go back to those days where we feel like we can go have a great time, and just really just enjoy this Disney experience that we all grew up on and have become addicted to. So thank you guys on the panel for all your thoughts tonight. Thank you guys for watching on a Sunday night. Again, next Sunday night we will not have a ParksCenter, but we'll be back very soon. And so thank you for all that you guys have done for us. One big shout out to our WIGS members, the WDWNT Interglobe Society. We love you guys. Those are our Patreons. If you want more information on that, go to patreon.com/WDWNT. And you can find out more about it. They get a post show. We're going to have a little post show after this. We'll try to keep it brief because a lot of these people are exhausted at this point. So so thanks for being with us, and we'll see you real soon. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Get it, huh?
Bye.